We don't know what's right and wrong. We only know what feels right and what feels wrong. For example, if someone has something we don't, we know it's right to leave that person alone. But it feels wrong being less than somebody else. So, to feel right about ourselves, we do what's wrong to that person. We need God to dictate our ethics and morality, no one else can. We play favorites, we have our own biases, we're clouded by our past and traumas. Therefore, it's impossible to ever reach a consensus. Just look at the law system, how some races or sexes get less or more time. How if you have money or are an influential person, you don't have to pay for your crimes at all. We cannot dictate what's right or wrong. We need a moral authority, a superior being. Why do parents rule over their children? Why do bosses rule over their employees? Because they're the experts. They know more, they know the consequences of every action, since they've been there. Of course, a beginner can be a genius in a particular area and do things better than the expert. But those are the exception, not the rule. However, no one can do that to God. Our ways don't work, they're fallible. We're trying to make each other feel right, not to do what's right. How is sugar, fast food, tobacco, alcohol, and so many others legal? When they don't provide any kind of benefit to our bodily systems. They do to our hedonistic and economical system. But other than those, what's the value? If we're trying to find life pleasurable through those things, then we need to look in the mirror and make some changes. What was illegal is now legal. What was immoral is now moral. Deceiving ourselves by saying we're becoming more progressive, we're catching up with the times. No. What we're doing is becoming more lenient, we're letting our guards down. We're tired of fighting for what's right, so we have given up, we don't care anymore. We're giving up territory so the enemy can influence us and drag us down to hell with him. The right thing to do is the right thing to do, not what the majority wants to happen. The right thing usually doesn't happen because someone has more power. So, we unfortunately learn that stupid, evil lesson that whoever has more power, the bigger stick, wins. And so we go after money, beauty, influence. We attach ourselves to group mentality. Not because we agree with them, but because there's safety in power in numbers. Forgetting that we're weak, we're worms. We can't even fight the laws of nature. We can avoid them by building houses, cars, and whatnot. But if a tornado or a volcano or a pandemic shows up, there's nothing we can do. But we think we can beat the law of sowing and reaping. We think we can beat the one who made it. We shouldn't do what's right because it's going to please other people, we should only do it because it's going to please the Most High. And when we die, the inequities we've suffered or put others through will be judged. Maybe it's not even a question of morality, but of integrity. Since most people would do the right thing if everyone else was doing it. But braves are those who can still do it no matter the situation. It doesn't make us better than anyone. We still sin one way or another. However, we try to do our best. While others have come to the consensus, this is how it is, then this how it is. It doesn't matter how things should be. As long as I'm fed and don't have to go through the same humiliations and lack of opportunities that the moral people go through, who cares? That is, of course, until the situation changes. Which is why if things were morally consistent for every single one of us, like God is, we wouldn't have to fight for power. Because whoever is on top is going to look down on those below him. But not God. We keep blaming God on the terrible situation we're in when it has always been self-caused. We got to walk away from morally corrupt people and the things they have to offer us. We got to teach our children that losing in the material world is not the same as losing in the spiritual world, which lasts forever. Being an example is all we can be and let people make their own choice. For example, if a rookie cop sees one cop take drug money instead of giving it up to evidence and he buys a new car, house, and feeds his family, while the other cop gives the money up for evidence and still struggles financially, the rookie has to figure out for himself what's the right thing to do. If he chooses the money, he's telling the world it's okay to do evil for personal gain. If he doesn't choose the money, he's telling the world there's other ways to make ends meet, and that other people shouldn't have to suffer so he cannot suffer.